Hello and welcome to another episode of the Manufacturing Leaders Podcast with me, Mark Bracknell, Managing Director of Theo James Recruitment. Today, we welcomed on James Worthington to the podcast, and I couldn't wait to get James on. James is the co-founder and co-managing director of MyWorkwear, based down in Telford. James is a big advocate of LinkedIn. You might have seen him on there. So I couldn't wait to get him on here and talk through his journey with the business, and it was such a good episode. We talked in detail about building the business. We talked about the importance of customer service and actually having customer service and improving their reviews on things like Trustpilot as a key KPI within the business, and that full transparency across the full business. He talked in detail about playing to your strengths. He is now, as a co-owner, solely out there selling the business, networking, building relationships, and removed himself from the operational part of the business. And there's some real key lessons for people there to try and make sure you are playing to your strengths and absolutely delegating good people in the business to do certain aspects of it. He did a real sort of call to arms about manufacturing, about the challenges in manufacturing and what we need to be doing, what the government needs to be doing to improve this tremendous industry that we work in. We talk in detail about so much else and so much value in this. And he talks very passionately about not only manufacturing, but also the charity Race Against Dementia. Unfortunately, James lost his father to the illness 3 years ago, and the charity work he's doing is phenomenal, and we'll be talking in detail about that, and I will put that link in the show notes and the link as well on the comments, so you can hopefully donate to this fantastic charity. So please sit back, grab a coffee, watch, listen, whatever you want to do, and again, please subscribe and like the channel, whatever channel you're watching on or listening. That would be honoured to do so. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoy the episode. Excellent. So a warm welcome to James Worthington on the podcast today. How are you, James? All good?
Good morning, Mark. Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me on today.
No, thank you very much for coming on. Really looking forward to it. So first question is the same question I ask everyone who comes on. What does it mean to you to be a leader?
Oh, that's a good one. Well, actually, that's a really good one because up until about 6 months ago, I was very much involved with the day-to-day running of the business. We've got a bit of an unusual setup here. I've got a business. We've got about 40 odd people working for us now. And we've got 2 co-managing directors. So I'm a co-managing director and my business partner, Ben, is a co-managing director. But as I was saying, is almost 6 months ago, we restructured the business. I don't actually get, as a leader, I don't get involved with the day-to-day running anymore of the business. Ben, whose background is fantastic at the ops side of things and the technology side of things, we just made a decision that I would step away from the day-to-day, which means our commercial director, Gail, who used to report into me, and obviously our marketing team and our sales team report into Gail and still do. She now reports into Ben, and as I say, I've stepped away from the day-to-day where I'm now looking after what I do is I'm the face of the business. I'm very, as you probably know, very passionate about manufacturing engineering. Do a lot of. I'm a sales guy. I love sales. Back in the day, do a lot of business networking. Go to a lot of events and shows, and to support the industry. And I look after obviously our big VIP customers. We've got a few very big customers that I look after, and I'm constantly out there. Like today, I'm very grateful I'm on your show today, trying to get our name out there. But I'm always looking for opportunities, such big opportunities for the business, and then obviously the really big stuff I get involved. The big decisions that we need to make about the business, I'll get involved with. I'll be at all the board meetings and stuff, and I'll have a management meeting with Ben and Gail just once a week just to have a catch up. So in answer to your question, sorry, a bit of a roundabout way. To me, leadership is someone that's very aware of themselves, self-awareness. It's all about having respect for your colleagues. I think respect's a very important thing. Gratitude is something that I think is really important for good leaders, just to be grateful of who they work with and why. It's all about communication. Communication's a real key thing, because communication is obviously how you run a business. If you can communicate well to your staff, And if you can get them on the vision that you have as a business owner, you're halfway there. You've cracked it, really. I mean, it's so important, as a leader, to embed the culture that you want as a business owner, stroke leader, into the business, and that's how you do it, really.
Nice, I like that.
I hope that's sort of answers your question in a roundabout
100%.
way.
Yeah, it's interesting actually, because you mentioned there you've transitioned, if you like, from being the business to obviously going more into the sales side, which obviously comes naturally to you.
Yes.
I've recently gone through, still going through that process actually. So it'd be, I guess, a good selfish question for me, just my own insight, which might help people who've also gone through that. Did you feel any sort of almost, I don't know, guilt's the wrong word, but obviously, how did you feel going through that process when obviously it was your baby, and then you've got
It was my So
the reins.
yes, it was. I'll be honest with you. I haven't had sleepless nights, but I thought, is this the right decision?
Yeah.
We're an ambitious company. I've been in the business since 2000, so 24 years now. So for 23 and a half years, I've been very much involved in the day-to-day running of the business, which has been great, and knowing everything and anything, if that makes sense, about the business. But as I say, we're ambitious. We're going to do. We've grown again about 25% this year. We're going to do about 4.3 million this year. Ben and I want to get to 10 million, and we want to get to 10 million in the next 4 years. And I suppose what it was, we just sat down, had a frank conversation. What are our strengths? What are our weaknesses? And my weaknesses is operations. It's the nitty gritty bits. It's all the processes, which Ben is fantastic at. It's it's actually not saying you're going to do something, but then actually going out there and actually putting a plan in place and doing it. And that's where Ben and his team are great at it. It took me a while to let go, I suppose, but ultimately, I believe that we've got a great senior management team out there now who are better than I am at what they do. I'm paying experts basically to make sure that they run the business better than I can, and I can focus on the bigger things basically.
Was that a difficult process, I guess, accepting that there's people in the business who are better, or did it feel the opposite of that? Did it feel quite, it was almost like a eureka moment, this is what I need to do?
It wasn't a eureka moment. I've known for a while, really. I've known for a while that if we want to go from 4 million to 10 million, it's a big beast. You're going to talk. I mean, we've worked now. I think we've got about 40 odd people now. To get to that 10 million, you're probably going to have about 100-ish people, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's a big beast to manage. And then you're going to obviously have all the management team below that and so on, all the structure in place. And it's I wouldn't say it was a eureka moment, but it's been coming for a while, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously in our board meetings, we talk about this a lot, and we've actually got one thing I do recommend actually for all leaders out there is we've got a great mentor for the business. We've had a few mentors over the years, but we've got a great mentor at the moment that helps Ben more than me. But again, it's these discussions is like, it's great that you want to get there, but how are you going to get there, sort of thing. So it wasn't a eureka moment, but I'm definitely, we're 6 months in now, and I think, yes, I definitely think it's the right thing to do. We've got a great great bunch of guys out there. When I say out there, just out there in the office doing their job, doing the jobs well. So
it's interesting because I interviewed a chap I know, actually, a chap called Carl Swansby, who is a specialist. He's a partner at a law firm who specialises in selling businesses or going through management buyouts. And one of the key pieces of tips he gave to maximize the value in a business, and we use manufacturing as a good example, is that typically the owner, who might be the person to sell or to at some stage exit the business, can't operationally be the most important person, the crucial person, because if you take that out of the cog, then obviously you've got a problem. So but he said actually the difficulty is a lot of people have is almost the subconscious ego thing, because it is everyone's baby. They've done it forever, and then obviously they have to sort of let it go. But you've really embraced that by sounds of it, and obviously playing strengths, which I think
definitely. In the early days, I was a bit, didn't want to tread on people's toes, sort of stuff, and where things I'd have got involved with, I sort of thought, actually no, I'll leave it. I'll move on. There's bigger things out there. Let's see how they deal with it. And to be honest with you, they've dealt with it well.
Nice.
So
Excellent stuff. I'd love to talk a bit more about the business. Obviously, it's 23rd year now, is it? Which is
no. So I've been here. Okay, family business set up in 1976 by my dad.
Okay. Yeah.
Bless him, but he's passed away now. And coming up to 10 years, I've been managing director now. But Ben will kill me for this. I can't remember exactly what date it is, but let's say 10 years ago, obviously I met up with Ben, and then we sold part of the business to Ben. Dad then stepped down, and then we've just been going from strength to strength, really. But as I say, business has been going since 76. I came on board in the year 2000. My background before then, I had about 10 years out in the IT world. I'm showing my age here, but I was when I graduated from university, the internet just became commercially viable. So I actually went into selling domain names and dial-up internet accounts and stuff like that. Then I lived abroad for a while in Vancouver, Canada. But then I came back to the UK. In fact, I came back when it was a dot-com crash in the year 2000. And I didn't plan to go into the family business, but I just started to help Dad out and got more and more involved. And Dad basically convinced me to stay in the business. And I said, well, if I'm going to stay in the business, we need to set up it's not there today, but myworkwear.co.uk. We need to have a website presence. So I set up, it was my base. So I set up myworkwear.co.uk 24 years ago, the website, and then the rest is history, really. I've been here ever since.
Yeah, amazing. Do you think it helped you having that, obviously, IT background, but you class yourself as a salesman? And I think
yes,
you get owners who either come from the finance route, some of them come from a shop floor, or a lot come from sales. Do you think that's helped you in that aspect?
Massively. The fact, yes, because obviously my father, bless him, he's now passed away. The internet wasn't his generation at all. Back then, when I came in 2000, we had a factory full of machinists. I mean, we had a lot of machinists actually manufacturing the workwear. We no longer do that. That's gone, and that was, unfortunately, it's just the way of the world. What we specialize now is, obviously we specialize in branded workwear, but we do all the embroidery and printing in house. We've got a lot of embroidery and print machines downstairs, but we buy in and badge up, in essence, basically. So we run a just-in-time stock system. We pull off about 12 major UK suppliers, next day delivery. And if you look at our website, we offer over 5,000 workwear related garments, products, if that makes sense. So there's no way we could obviously make that and keep it all in stock. I mean, the money involved just to stop that was huge. Even back in those days, the stock we'd keep for our customers in 2000 for all the stuff that we made from scratch. So yes, it was I don't think if I'm being honest, I mean, obviously you don't know how the world, you can't see into the future, but I don't think if I had have come on board, Dad would have had the vision to see that, because it just wasn't his generation. So I don't think he realized just how important the internet would become and how important it is. I mean, we do about 40% of our business of our turnover is done by the internet, all self-service. So people come on, we never actually have, never have to speak to them, or very little, let's say. You know what I mean? It's all, they come on, they pay for their orders, and it comes in, the goods come in, we get them embroidered, and we get them straight out to them ASAP.
Have you seen almost consumer habits change at all over the years? Because like you say, there's obviously a massive shift when the internet, people started to use the internet, and it was, I need something, I'll Google it. And have you seen anything, I guess, over the last sort of 5-10 years change in terms of the habits of people, the way people buy then?
Yes, obviously the our turnover generated by the internet has gone up steadily year by year. So obviously there's more people out there doing business over the internet. It's definitely become a lot more competitive. We are in a competitive industry. There's no doubt about it. You could go on the internet now and just type in branded workwear, and you could go and select, I think, 20 people to the first page. You know what I mean? As simple as that. You know what I mean? But it's become a lot more competitive. But where we have won, and I'm proud of this, where Ben and I have grown the business, it's very much about, it's not being the cheapest, it's not being about the most expensive. It's that customer service. I did a presentation this week to a potential big customer, and actually our slides are slightly wrong at the moment. It says we've got a Trustpilot of 4.7. Now we've just gone up to 4.8, which is great. So we've got thousands of very positive reviews, and that's how we've built the business. It's customer service. We, as a business, we realise that people's workwear is very important to them. They need workwear to go out on site. So it's all about communication. It's all about communicating with the customer and giving them top-notch customer service. Now, we're not always going to get it right. We're human. Sometimes we make mistakes, or sometimes where our and Ben can explain this to you more. We're from a tech point of view, we're really tech savvy. We've invested a lot of technology back into this business in the last few years. We've had a new ERP system, a new CRM system, but we're clever. So, like, Ben's written or his team have written a program where an order coming off the internet, and then we'll shoot out whatever it is, some type of amazing bit of script, let's call it, that will go off to our suppliers and find the cheapest price and the most stock with that supplier and put the order in straight away. Now, sometimes, obviously, things happen, and even though the supplier says they've got it, they haven't got the stock for whatever reason. It's a glitch sort of thing. But what it is, as the key thing is that we'll let the customer know within hours of them placing the order that we're very sorry, this item's out of stock. Are you happy to wait? Which 9 times out of 10 they say, yeah, that's fine. I can live with that. That new date's fine. Or sometimes they'll say, no, that's no good. I need this, this branded polo shirt within the week, whatever it is we're up to, and we'll make it happen. We'll give them an alternative. So for us, in answer to your question, the internet has changed in the last 10 years. But I think the people that are doing well are the ones that have been really professional and slick with their business, and keeping your customers happy is absolutely key. And there's so many, not just in my industry, but there's so many industries out there, they just don't realize the importance of customer service. It's absolutely critical to this business. And if you were to come here and look around our factory, we've got these big KPI dashboards on the screen. So in customer services, there's a response time that your first response has to be within and these guys work hard out there to meet these KPIs, and it's key. It's absolutely key to the business and to our success, and that's how we've managed to grow. Reputation.
I love that. And there's so much to learn there, because in most industries now it is competitive. And I think in a market like this, some people might slash their prices to try and get ahead. And I agree that is not the way to go, because, price does not dictate the service. So I love the fact that you've prioritized that service over that. I mean, you mentioned the Trustpilot thing. That is a website, I guess people do go on. Was that a conscious, this is important, we must try to improve this, etc.? Was that a conscious effort, or was it just organically?
Yeah, we've done a lot of internal processes and stuff like that. So we've got a voice of the customer now on our so if you go into our canteens, we've got a couple of canteens here, voice of the customer, because I think it's really, obviously, our salespeople and especially our customer service department will very much have a feel of how our customers are feeling. When you're in a factory, obviously you're down there, you're operating the machines, and obviously things are going on, and you're doing your job from day to day. You don't really get any feedback on how the customer is feeling about the job that you're doing. So what we do is we actually in the canteen, up on the boards, we put voice of the customer up there. So we'll put up some good comments from our Trustpilot reviews. Joe Blogs has done a great job, really happy, which is brilliant. But we also, just as importantly, we put we do occasionally get negative reviews, and it's important that we put those up there as well. So our colleagues can look at this and reflect on it, and know that know that they are generally doing a good job, but sometimes they might not be doing a good job, and they might actually say, "Oh, actually, I did that order. Why isn't that customer happy with that?" And it enables them to reflect on the customer journey as such. So it's really, it works very, very well.
Yeah, I love that. And so much to learn. I think that's fantastic, James. I love to talk about the wins probably more than the challenges, but I think it's important sometimes to reflect on things that have, times have been difficult. For some people that was COVID, for some people that was other times. Have there been any periods, building the business that you've, reflecting back, you've really learned some valuable lessons from, which were, quite tricky at the time, would you say?
Oh, so obviously I've been at it for 20 odd years now. We've been through a couple of recessions. We've been through COVID. COVID actually worked out well for us as a business. We were doing well before COVID hit. And then obviously COVID hit, and I had some big deals on the table, and they obviously stopped there and then.
Yeah.
And our website traffic just suddenly stopped, and the orders didn't come in. And Ben and I looked at each other and thought, "Oh my God, what's going like the rest of the world? What's going to happen here?" And we closed down for 3 weeks. Say we, Ben and I just worked around the clock behind the scenes, but we shut the factory for 3 weeks, and obviously we stopped taking orders on the website. But obviously we kept looking at the traffic, and it went. We're expecting the worst. It went better than we're expecting, because what actually happened was people obviously were at home, people were bored, the weather was nice, and we started to notice traffic going up and up on our website. And then after 3 weeks, we actually opened up again, because what was actually happening were people were, as I say, that there's no minimum order on our website, and you can buy unbranded. When I say workwear, you can buy unbranded garments. So people were looking at our website and started buying shorts, caps, t-shirts, polo shirts.
Yeah.
So we opened up, and to be honest, it was the demand went through the roof, that we couldn't keep up with demand at one point. So we learned a lot from that. We had to really improvise, and just trying to think here, because going back, we had to really improvise, and at times we just couldn't meet the demand. So it put us in a position where we had to really think out the box, and it's not just about getting more staff in. It was about, in fact, it was we had to look at how we were doing business with our processes. And again, Ben and his team started writing little programs to make things a bit better with our stock control. I mean, and I think actually that's when as I say, we've moved over to, obviously we've got this new ERP, and we've got this new CRM system. We've actually upgraded our account system. We were using Sage Line 50 for many years. It didn't work. It was just too clunky. And I think again, that pushed us to say, right, this demand's not going to go away. What are we going to do about it? There's only so amount of people we can obviously physically get in the building to run the machines. We've just got to be better at what we're doing. So although it was great, we were really busy, but our systems at the time were letting us down, and it pushed us as a management team to invest, and get these new systems in place. And we look, I mean, Ben will have to explain this to you. Maybe you can get Ben on the podcast at some point. But I believe at one point our touch points, and Ben will tell you about this, on a product that came into the building was like 30 touch points. Right. Now it's like 4 or 5. Do you know what I mean? So the actual touch points and the technology that drives the business now has just made us so lean. It's fantastic, really. So yes, that was a very good experience of that we've learned along the way of how to improve and to meet demand. Really, it is all about looking at these efficiency gains through technology.
Apologies for interrupting this podcast for a very quick 30-second pitch of my business. Theo James are a specialist manufacturing and engineering recruitment search firm based in Seaham in the Northeast. If you're looking for any staff or a new opportunity yourself, from a semi-skilled level right the way up to C-suite executive, then please get in touch. We have a specialist consultant in each discipline ready to help. I'm extremely proud of what we've built over the years, and I'd love to extend that service out to you. Thank you. Enjoy the podcast. Yeah, excellent stuff. I love that. And I first saw you on LinkedIn because you're very visible on that, and I'd love to talk to you in a bit more detail about how that journey's gone for you. But it's very obvious on there the passion you have for manufacturing and the passion you have for engineering, and I know you're involved in Make UK and other organisations to try and improve the sector. Is it because you've worked in it and just found this passion, or what's led you to have this sort of just love for the sector?
So with obviously with what I've done for the last 20 odd years, I've been to a lot of factories over the years, lots of manufacturing sites and engineering sites, construction sites, all sorts of sites. I'm very passionate about the UK and what we do and stuff like that. And I just love seeing how things are made. Obviously, I haven't got an engineering background or anything like that, but I love going in, and I love just to see how, I call it widgets, how people make their widgets in their factories. LinkedIn has been fantastic for our business, and yes, I'm very active on LinkedIn. I think it's a fantastic business tool, and I encourage all my staff out there that LinkedIn is a great way to build a personality to the world out there. People, at the end of the day, Mark, as you know, people buy from people, don't they? And it's all about, I say, the more you can be out there, in the world supporting other people and their businesses, the more people will naturally gravitate to you. And at some point, obviously from a business owner hat, at some point they will think, oh, I need some workwear. Oh, I've seen that guy James on LinkedIn, and they'll come to you. It's a very soft sell. We don't push what we do. We're not hard salespeople at all, but it's just been in people's minds. But yeah, so I do myself. I do a lot of business networking. I go to a lot of manufacturing and engineering events, particularly that sort of stuff. I have a passion. I like my cars as well, and can't say too much due to NDAs. But we supply some well-known automotive sports car manufacturers. And I'm very proud about that. It's something I'm very proud that as a business owner that we've got that people trust in us, their branding and their workwear, their teamwear with us as such.
I know an important part of your role has been networking. Whether that's getting out there and selling the business, whether that's meeting other people. I think networking is still something that a lot of people feel they haven't got the time to do because they don't see the benefit. Yeah. What would you say to people with that mindset? Because I know you've.
It's the wrong mindset. I encourage our sales guys and ladies. Sorry, when I say sales guys, salespeople, to network, because it's all about building relationships. And the way I see it as well is these people that you meet ultimately can become your salesperson for you. When you get to understand what they do, I mean, I'm a massive believer of, I refer people all the time. So if I meet lots of interesting people, when I find out what they do, there'll be, and it happens weekly, to be honest. I've been away this week, but I've referred about 3 people this week to each other because I just think, oh, such and such should meet such and such because such and such does such and such and such and such does such and such, and put them together. So networking is absolutely, and that's how we have managed to build this business. It's just meeting people. I always say, people don't care what you know until they know what you. People don't care what you know until they know that you care. And if you really think about that, it's so important. But yes, networking is a massive part of this business, and I would recommend to anybody out there, if they've got salespeople and they're thinking, oh, should I send such and such to it? Get them out there, get them at these business networking events, these whatever networking events it is, because it's all about working together. It's all about sharing the knowledge, sharing the passion. Especially as I say, I go to a lot of manufacturing engineering events. And it all comes around. You know what I mean? It all comes around. You do somebody a favor, they'll do you a favor. And that's, definitely.
I think a lot of people are apprehensive about networking because it's quite, for a lot of people, it can be quite an unnatural medium to, do I sell the business? Do I just build it? Do you know what I mean? Have you almost got a tactic, if you like, for if you walk into a networking event now where you didn't know anyone, because that's the bulk of what it is for a lot of people, where's your mindset going? What's your tactics?
Look, okay. I also appreciate that. Yes, what you're saying, it comes very naturally for me, and it's different for me as well because I own the business with Ben. It's very easy for me to be very passionate about what I do, and I can just talk until the cows come home about my business. In fact, I don't really talk that much about my business when I go out business network. When I do networking sort of stuff, I do, I talk about it a bit, but it can be daunting, because it's not easy for everyone. It can be daunting for people to walk into that room and think, oh my God, I've now just got to go and talk to people. So you do need somebody that is confident to just go and talk. Salespeople, I suppose, that are confident to go out there and just talk to people. I'll be honest with you, and I say this to my sales team, you sort of get a hunch, like especially in sales meetings and stuff like that. You know when you're selling, when you're not selling, when you're talking to this person that you've met about their kids, about hiking in the Lake District, about cars or whatever, you're building a relationship. And that's so it's almost, my advice would be is to go out there, don't do your elevator pitch to someone, just go and talk to them, have a chat to them, and just be yourself, be genuine. Don't ever try and be somebody you're not, but just go out and just find out what they do. Just be interested in what they do. Let them tell you what they do, and the conversation will flow. And then what you'll generally find is that people will then, once they've told you, this is my company, this is what I do, this is what we blah blah blah, they'll then probably say to you, so what do you do, James? And then you'll be, oh well, I do blah blah blah. So that's the way I'd recommend it. I would always ask, when you go out there, to these networking events, don't do the elevator pitch, but you ask them how they are, chit chat, what do they do? And then you'll 9 times out of 10, it'll come back to you, what do you do? And then you can tell them what you do. But yes, going back to what you've asked me, networking is key. And going back to, also, I was going to say something else actually. This is the beauty of LinkedIn, I find. So last year I was away. I worked out 40 odd nights last year, and most of those nights were at dinner events and stuff like that. And people say, "God, you get around a lot," and I do, and I enjoy it. I'm a people person. I like meeting people. But another key thing is, I say to my salespeople, is go to these events, meet these people, make sure you connect with them on LinkedIn, because what you'll find is you will start. There are people out there that do network. There's quite a few of us networkers that I'm going to an event tonight, and I'm in Chester tonight, the mechanical engineering networking event, dinner event, going to that, which should be great. And there will be certain people in that room that I see quite regularly because they get it, they network and sort of stuff. But there'll be a lot of people in there that I have never met before. If I get a chance to chat to them, that'd be great. Whatever happens, even if it's not a business card, I will make sure I'll connect with them on LinkedIn. And then they come into your ecosystem. They're into your channel. And obviously, as you know, you probably say, I do a lot of content, a lot of posting and stuff. But what I was saying to my sales team yesterday was, we've had a very big inquiry that came through to me through LinkedIn yesterday. And I won't say who it is, but I've met this person probably 2, maybe 3 times in the real world over the last 5 years at various networking events. Well, if you think of the actual time spent together physically, it's probably been a couple of hours total, tops. But that person has come to me because they've followed me on LinkedIn for a long time, and they've got to see subconsciously they've got to see me and my business, and subconsciously they've seen this, and they've obviously subconsciously made a decision that they like me, they trust me and what I do, and they've approached me through LinkedIn. Yeah. So the power of networking and also connecting with LinkedIn and building that personality on LinkedIn is absolutely key.
I completely agree, and you've nailed it there as well, because you just got to be yourself, because you mentioned the word trust, and it is all about business. Is all about trust, isn't it? You want to go, even if you get something done in your house, you want to be able to trust the people doing it. If you're going to business, you need to be able to trust them. And there's always going to be a level of will they, won't they, because you can't tell for sure. But as humans, there's a gut feeling there that I've met this person, they seem like a good person, I want to do business with them. And but I completely agree that LinkedIn consistent transparency of just, and this is when we bring people in here, we tell them just be yourself, be authentic, do not read out the script, because it's red tape corporate nonsense, and no one buys from that. That's not you.
Yeah, I mean, I do quite a few. I do a lot of posts, and probably once a week ish, maybe, or a couple of weeks, I'll do a video post. Yeah. But with my video posts, it's literally there in the moment, there and then. I don't think about it too much. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's not scripted, and it's quite obvious. It's just James being James. He's had a thought about something, or he's supporting something, or doing something. And I'm probably, I've probably mixed my words up a little bit. You know what I mean? I probably not, but that's just me.
Fine. Yeah.
It's me being me. So I mean, it's just be yourself. People buy from people, don't they? And it's like you say, people, who wouldn't want to do business with somebody that you like, that you trust, and they're going to look after you. They're not going to, they're going to give you a good price. You like them, you find them pleasant to deal with, and you trust them. And if something goes wrong, because things do go wrong in business, it's ways that they'll look after you. They're not going to ignore you. They'll make sure they sort it out. And that's how you run a good business. Yeah, absolutely.
I completely agree. I want to speak to one of your advice really on manufacturing, because manufacturing is an industry that you've worked in for a long time now.
Yes.
Like anything, the cycles, the recessions, there's all sort of stuff. I know you're involved heavily with Make UK and other bodies that are trying to improve the industry.
Yes.
What do you see as the biggest challenges right now to the industry, and I guess what would you think the solution should be, which people can start doing today?
There's two very sadly, I feel there's some very big challenges in the manufacturing. And if we talk about the manufacturing and engineering world, obviously I've got a lot of customers that are in this industry sector. Firstly, I don't want to get too political here, but I think the government in general just do not shout out the good news stories enough, and the media,
Yep.
especially the bigger name, the bigger I won't mention, but the media do not. They're quite happy to shout about the negative things that's going on in the manufacturing and engineering world. But there are so many good manufacturing and engineering things in this UK that we're doing. It's really good. They don't shout out about it. How do I say this? Because what I do naturally, I go into a lot of manufacturing and engineering establishments throughout the country. There is a ticking time bomb. It is, and I hate to say this, and I don't offend anybody by saying this, but there's a lot of Fred in the sheds out there. There's a lot of people that are getting on a bit that have been fantastic. Let's talk about the engineering world. That have been fantastic engineers. At some point, they will be retiring, and we haven't got the young blood coming through to take up these positions they will be retiring from. So there's a huge problem going forward. It's and I hate to say this because I do feel that it's getting the manufacturing and industry and engineering industry is getting smaller and smaller because we just haven't got the people coming through to continue what we're doing as such. We're too obsessed, kids of today are too obsessed about being a footballer, a vlogger, a YouTuber, whatever. Well, engineering, for example, is a great thing to get into. And again, this is, it's the way we portray it. People think, oh, engineering, it's mucky, it's dirty. Well, some of it can be, but some of it can be really exciting. I mean, look at Formula One. Look at the cars they're making. Look at the cars we make as a nation anyway. Sorry, I'll get very heated and passionate about this. So I think government just don't realise the importance. It's all about the service sector, and I get that, banking and all that, and it is important. And obviously, we're I don't know what we are in the world from an educational point of view, and overseas students, fantastic, great. But where did again? I just think it's that British pride, isn't it? Where did the Industrial Revolution start? Here. In fact, here, when I say here, we're based in Telford, and the Iron Bridge is just literally a stone's throw away from here. You know what I mean? This is the Industrial Revolution. We started here in good old Blighty. And we don't shout, we're too conservative about it. We don't shout out about it. So I think it's got to come from the top. And I think you've got me on one here now. It's got to come from a top, but it's got to get into schools. It's got to get into education. Education. We're not teaching kids, about the importance of, our engineering mindsets and background. It's just not there. It's just not talked about, and it really needs to be. So, and again, I think the government really needs to. I know you got this apprentice, the apprenticeships and apprentice levies and all that sort of stuff. We supply a lot of apprentice providers, but again, I don't think it's done quite. And I won't go into it because it's very political, but I think it could be done better. I really do think it could be done better. So I'm afraid, it stems from the top, and I just don't think government. It doesn't matter which government, whoever they are in power at the time, they talk about it. They talk the talk, but they're more negative about it than positive. And there's so many good positive things going on out there. We're a great nation of thinkers, doers, inventors, and we just need someone just to tell the world how great we are.
Love that, and thank you so much for that, because I know how passionate you are, and I really wanted you to talk, so people heard you talk about that, because I think there's a lot of great leaders in manufacturing who are doing amazing things with their business, but aren't getting involved like they need to get involved externally outside of their business to do exactly what you're talking about there, get the government to move and push, because I can see the issues in manufacturing. Being a recruiter, I can see the problems. I can see all these fantastic things happening with all these great projects, but where the skills coming from, it needs to stem from exactly what you're talking about.
Not getting too political again, I was at the Make UK event this week, and obviously there's a few ministers up there doing their bit and saying this and saying that. And again, this is the problem. The problem you've got, these guys are, great at communicating, great at doing what they do and all this sort of stuff. But when you look at their CVs, they're wet behind the ears. They haven't got any, and I mean literally, they haven't got any industrial experience. They don't come from a background of starting on the shop floor, doing their CNC machining all the way up into management and stuff. They don't feel the pains of what it is to be a manufacturing or an engineering company, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
so this is where I think this is our downfall. I can't think, nobody springs to mind that I can say, well, that person who's in government now, they've led this big company out there, they've started on the shop floor, they get it, they know how it is. They don't know how it is. They want to help, which is great, but they don't. You really need to start from the bottom up and get to the top, and then you know what it's like to be in the manufacturing engineering industry.
Completely agree, because we are in Britain should be an absolute powerhouse, of manufacturing, and I can see it going that way. But and it is, and it needs more people like you to do what you're doing and talk about it passionately and meet with people. And if 10% of every leader of a manufacturing firm in the UK decided they want to do something, there'd be a massive movement. They'd have to listen.
Oh, huge. Yeah.
So I love that, and thank you for that so much. I can't leave it without asking you about the amazing stuff you're doing right now for charity. I know you've got it branded there as well. I can see the race against dementia there. So tell me about that, James. I think that's some amazing stuff you're doing.
Yeah. Okay. So I mentioned a bit earlier in this chat today. Lost dad, unfortunately, far too young. To a Alzheimer's. He had a condition called Lewy body, which I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy, which is a form of, obviously, dementia, basically. So we lost Dad just under 3 years ago. We touched upon the fact that I love cars, and I've always been into my motorsport, love cars and stuff. We actually sponsor a couple of cars and stuff like that. So 2-ish years ago, I made a fantastic charity called Race Against Dementia, our official charity for the business. For those of you who don't know, Race Against Dementia was set up by a Formula One legend, Sir Jackie Stewart. And this has all come about because, unfortunately, I think it was about 6 years ago, his wife, Helen, got diagnosed with dementia. And Sir Jackie Stewart, being Sir Jackie Stewart, said, oh, this is terrible. Okay. Obviously, being in a position where, obviously, probably money's no object, he turned around and said, right, what medicine do I need to buy to cure Helen? And they said, I'm very sorry, Sir Jackie, there is no cure for dementia. Your wife will die from this. Sorry.
How much time is?
Oh, gets a bit emotional about Dad.
There's much time to me, mate. Oh, good.
So, sorry. So he said, right, okay, we need to change this. So he has gone out and set up Race Against Dementia, which I believe at the moment there's about 12. So basically, this charity sponsors about 12 doctorates around the world who are racing against the clock to try and crack the cure to dementia. Because sadly, 1 in 3 of us right now, I know we talk about cancer, which obviously is horrific and kills a lot of people, but 1 in 3 of us will die at this moment in time from something related to dementia. So this charity has been set up. It's been going for 6, I don't know how many years now. We've been involved for about 3. Trying to, and all the money that goes to this charity goes to these doctorates who are working around the clock, these very bright people using Formula One technology, which is very important because obviously, obviously with Formula One, they're at they're at the top of the game when it comes to engineering and technology, and they're using these sort of processes to try and crack the cure. So anyway, cut long story short, because of that and because of it's just a natural thing for me to be able to support. Race Against Dementia is our official charity for the business, and we work very closely with them. We try and help out where we can. So if they're doing events, I'll try and send some, myself or some staff members will go off and help for the day, doing some supporting. But we've got but because that also, we've got a couple of events. I started 3 years ago, the Radical Rogues Rally, which is basically go back. It's into our third year now, but go back 2 years in 2022. We did the North Coast 500. There were 6 cars that went around the North Coast 500 in Scotland, which was amazing. Lots of signage all over the cars, and just set this charity page up and raising lots of money and awareness for Race Against Dementia. And then last year we did it again. We went around Wales this time, and there were 6 cars again, and we did 500 miles round trip. It was amazing, and we raised lots of money again. And then this year, I'm going to plug it if that's okay, we're doing the Ring of Kerry, and there's 8 cars this year, and it's getting bigger and bigger each year, which is great. So we're in May the 17th, we're off to go and do the Ring of Kerry in Ireland, setting off from here in the Midlands up to Holyhead, over into Ireland, and it's about a 1,600 mile round trip. Obviously doing lots of stuff on social media. Again, very pleased to say we set a target of £5,000, and I've looked this morning and we're over 50% already, which is fantastic. If I could just plug that, if that's okay,
100%.
justgiving.com/page/Radical Rogues Rally 2024. If anyone of your listeners out there have got some spare pennies, thank you very much.
Put link in, definitely.
So doing that, and also another plug, I'm doing an ultra marathon for the charity in July this year. It'll be my second ultra marathon. I haven't done one for 6 years, but I'm doing another one, and that's a 50-kilometer ultra marathon run, starting or finishing in Cardiff. I know I've booked on it. I haven't actually looked at it. It's along the coast of Cardiff that way. So I'm doing a lot of training at the moment, and lots of tired legs, but all for a great cause.
Yeah, amazing, and unbelievable. I'll definitely put the link in there, because what you're doing is fantastic for a great charity. And as someone who's done a couple of ultra runs as well, they are not easy to train for. So
it's a lot. It takes, what I'm finding is, obviously I've got 2 small kids. Obviously I've got business. I'm away a lot and stuff. It's just trying to fit the runs in, isn't it? Really, more than anything, it's time. It's the very thing. I mean, once I'm out there doing it, it's not too bad. I mean, I must admit, I was a bit grumpy this morning when I went off first thing at 6 o'clock this morning, because it was wet, windy, and cold.
But
once I've done it, once you've done it, the endorphins are kicked, and I'm super chuffed that I did it. So
100%, excellent. Well, I've got some lasting, sort of quick fire questions, which I normally have written down, but I haven't got them, so I'm gonna have to just remember them. So I'll fire them at you. Who's the best manager you've ever had, would you say, and why?
Ooh. So I haven't been managed. Gosh. That's an interesting one. See, I've not been managed myself for 20 odd years. But actually, I'm going to say my business partner, Ben,
right,
and I'm going to say my commercial director, Gail, and I'm going to say they don't manage me, but they do. We, as a management team, hold ourselves accountable. If that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%.
So we've got a great relationship. We can talk. We can be very frank with each other, sort of stuff. So although I'm not managed, no one's 100% perfect, and we do get things wrong, or we don't do the right things. Sometimes it just happens. But all of us do it. So although I'm not managed by anyone, I am held accountable. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yes, I would say, I'd say that for that answers that question.
Who's been your biggest influence from either sporting, business? I guess someone you've never met. I guess who's been a real sort of inspiration for you there? You might have met them, but
biggest. That's a good one. Okay. To be honest with you, I'm inspired. I listen, because I'm on the road a lot.
Yeah.
I listen to a lot of podcasts. I find it a great time to listen to, and probably, you know, a lot of these podcasts are they're very much business orientated. So I listen to the Diary of a CEO. I listen to The Rest is Politics, which I find fascinating. So I'm not very political myself, but obviously politics is very important in this world. So I find Rory Stewart and Alistair Campbell fascinating, and I love the fact that these guys, they're very, very bright, but they make politics for someone, some simpleton, a simpleton like myself, say simpleton, but you know what I mean, somebody that's not really that political. It makes it very interesting. Those guys are obviously at different ends of the spectrum in their political support, if that makes sense. Sorry, I'm going about this in a very long-winded way. I find a lot of people, I draw off a lot of people. I do find a lot of business leaders very inspirational about how they have built these businesses. I haven't got one person I can say that's really inspired me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people inspire me, if that makes sense. It's not just one. There's a lot of people out there. And I just find it fascinating, people's history and life stories and how they've got to where they've got. Sorry, I'm really.
No, I think if you're naturally a curious person, then you take inspiration.
I'm just naturally, I just naturally find. I naturally just find people that with success, but then I find because a lot of my business associates and customers have actually become friends as well over the years. Right. So I've got a lot of friendships that I can draw on from inspiration as well, and I've got some friends with some cracking businesses. You know what I mean? They're really well for themselves, and they're inspirational with how they've achieved what they've done themselves. So
nice, excellent. And just finally, we've talked quite a bit about the business. It's in great shape. What are the plans for the next sort of 12, 18 months? Anything on the horizon which is exciting?
Yes. So obviously so obviously we've set the budget for 24, 25. And I think off the top of my head, we want to try and grow it. I think it's about 27% we've worked for next year. The big project, so obviously we put these ERP system in place, the CRM system in place, etc. They were big projects. The big project for this year that they've already started work on it, but it's going to be the big project is a new website.
Nice.
We're actually, and that's in some ways is fantastic.
It's a big task,
but it's a big project. It's going to be a big investment, and obviously we've really got to get that right. So it'll be a new website that we're hoping that'll go. It won't go live in 24, 25, but it will be going live 26. If that makes sense. That's the big project for next year.
Love that, James. Look, thank you so much. This has been great. It's amazing. There's so many takeaways, and I always reflect after what takeaways I've had, and absolutely so many. I love the fact that you put a real emphasis on a business, on that feedback, the customer feedback, and you know, that being the biggest importance to the business, I think is shown the success. I love that side to it, and again, how important it is to meet people, to network, to keep selling the business. But actually, ultimately, I love the fact the message is just be yourself and don't try and be someone you're not, because people
just be you. Yeah. Because people will see through it. If you're not you and you're promising the world or whatever it is, people know. People, just be yourself.
And you know, the charity stuff you're doing is absolutely phenomenal. I'll definitely put a link there. So make sure, you know, people please donate. So, but thank you, James. It's been great. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me on, Mark. Much appreciated.